Hey, welcome to the 512th episode of Just Shoot It, a podcast about filmmaking, screenwriting, and directing. This episode is brought to you by patrons Adam Bricker and Adam Troy. Thanks, Adams. I'm Matt and Lo.
And I'm Oren Kaplan, and today we are catching up, talking a little bit about what's going on in the world. It's January 27th. I mean, not really in a
not what's
meaningful
going
way.
on. Not what's going on in the world. But
we'll touch on Sundance. Yeah. We'll touch on what Matt's working on, and we'll touch on what I worked on lately. So what are you working on lately? Talk. Before we hop into it, just going to remind people we have a Patreon, patreon.com/justshootitpod. It's where you can give us $1, $2, $4, $8, $10, $16. Those are the only options.
You can slice it up, surprise us.
Just to support us, help pay the editor. And yeah, Kevin, our editor, emailed us yesterday to ask if he needs a 1099. That means we're spending some serious money.
That means you can do the math. Enough money that we should send him a 10 and are sending him a 1099.
Yeah. If you get anything out of this podcast, let us know. If you get anything out of the Instagram clips, let us know. How about you just let us know anything? I feel like I'm your mother and you need to just call me.
You could call us every once in a while.
Yeah. Or just DM us on Instagram.
Or leave a comment. Honestly, the comments have been fun lately on Instagram. Like there's some lively discussion on the AI of it all, people getting in there, chopping it up. I love to see that lively discussion.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone.
Sergio is, when you post something on Instagram, we were just talking today about how people don't post in their feed a lot anymore. But when you do post something, the Instagram UI tells you, by the way, if you respond to comments, it will enhance engagement in your post and will continue, get the conversation going. And I've noticed that Sergio has responded to every comment.
He gets the conversation going
on his account.
Sergio.
It is good. I mean, I guess I should do that too. I usually just like the comment.
Yeah.
But that's nothing nowadays.
Get in there. Chop it up.
Anyhow, can I ask you my question about Sundance?
Yeah.
It's Sundance. It's the last Sundance in Park City, as everyone knows.
I've got
Boulder, Colorado.
Serious FOMO. I feel sad about it for sure.
How many times have you been to Sundance?
Just once.
Just once. Okay.
Yeah. The right answer is just once. I've been to Park City and that space a couple more times than that for various reasons, but I have attended the festival once.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I've been twice. Two very different experiences. First time, my friend Ken Fuhrer was just running the tickets he was volunteered, and so I slept on his floor in his
Yep, you did it right. You did
dorm apartment, and he was taking tickets at the Critics Theater, so he got me into every screening, and I just watched every movie with Roger Ebert.
Incredible.
And it spoiled me because I was like, oh, you just go to Sundance and watch movies as if that is so easy. The second time I went, my wife had a friend from high school that was like, I heard Sundance is the place to see and be seen. Let's go party there. But she has zero connections to the film industry or zero interest in it, really. And we went, and we were a group of 8 people. More or less, Kara and I were the only people that had any connections to Hollywood folks.
8 people is a lot of people, too, to get into a party or something.
2 people is difficult to get into a party, let alone 8. And it's really cold there. It's not like you're just sitting it's not Paris, Champs-Elysees, where you're having a croissant and a coffee on the sidewalk watching everyone walk by. It's like you're shivering. So it was kind of rough. We shared a big cabin.
Did you go to the Walmart outside town to get hand warmers and
supplies? I forget. But we did see some movies, but it was we couldn't get everyone into, it's not like we all went to the movies together.
Sure.
It was a real battle royale to get tickets. But I saw so many people I knew. I mean, it's incredibly fun. You will know so many people there if you are even remotely connected to this industry. But what I was curious about, you and I have both been working on commercials a lot lately. I know you have your feature that you're getting financed right now, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And I have had my stuff. The second time I went to Sundance, the other inspiration was because I had placed in the Slam Dance pilot writing final, so they gave me a free ticket to the Slam Dance Film Festival. So that was kind of another excuse to go, but because we were kind of working primarily in commercials in the last couple of years, I'm just curious what your thought is on how much we should be paying attention to Sundance. Like I saw today, Deadline was like, oh, here's a review of every movie at Sundance. And I'm like, do I even need to know what movies are at Sundance? What's your take on it?
Yeah, so this is great because I think that you and I are kind of in different places in our career. You're going to make movies in a couple years when you're I think you've said on the show when your kids are less interested in hanging out with you.
Yeah.
And I am still on that bandwagon more overtly. And so I think that Sundance in general is in a funny place in our culture. And I'm going to lump in a bunch of other film festivals as well. Those top tier festivals, you can play TIFF, you can play Sundance, you can play South by Southwest or wherever, and they can have a meaningful change in your commercial career to an extent. If you, Oren Kaplan, went to a film or went to a Sundance with a film, I think it would help your career in certain ways, right? Your cool factor, your aura, you could put a trailer on the art class website or whatever. And I think it would up your desirability, right?
Yeah.
Because creative directors are movie fans oftentimes,
Right. But I challenge you to find a creative director that you've worked with or that I've worked with that can name one movie that's playing at Sundance.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that you would be on their radar because of it. I'm saying that your reps would be like, oh, Oren just got back from Sundance. He got this hot new film. There's a bidding war, blah, blah, blah. They're in the pitch about you, Sundance filmmaker Oren Kaplan has a different ring to it, just the way Emmy nominated filmmaker, South by South, all of that stuff. It's all, they don't need to be aware of it. They need to be told, right? But it's another type of ammunition.
I saw that J.J. Adler, who's like one of my favorite commercial directors, had a short film there.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, obviously, when they're like, oh yeah, can she pitch, can she have her meeting with you next Wednesday because her movie's premiering at Sundance tonight, is a great sentence you can use one time if it happens to line up.
But also, as a person who follows JJ's socials, I knew that she had a short in Sundance. And I think that's some mileage. And that's a perfect example of a person I hold in very high esteem. She runs her own company. She's got a short roster of people. She only does the best spots. If you are JJ Adler and you're at the top of the commercial game, where else can you go? Sundance, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess that kind of begs the question of how much time, is it important as a commercial director to step aside and make some short films, try to do some features, or is it really only if you're trying to get more into that narrative world?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for all the reasons I just described, I think it can be helpful. It will not directly help your commercial career. I'll say this. This is my takeaway. I think that prestigious awards and festivals laurels help an established commercial director stand out from the crowd, be even more premium, and gain esteem in the eyes of creative directors, right? Not only does he have an awesome reel, but Oren Kaplan just played Sundance. Awesome. That helps you, but you have to have the commercial reel to back it up. And I think that we've seen plenty of people in our youth that had awesome festival laurels, but couldn't break into commercials because they didn't have the reel. So I think that it has to be in concert, but I do think that it helps. Should you, to advance your career, go shoot some narrative pieces? I don't know. Maybe I guess the counter question is your bandwidth maxed already, right? If I wasn't working on features and I was just responding to boards and pitching and then shooting and cutting commercials, I would have room. I would have room to be able to do that stuff. Now, Oren, you're a workaholic. So as soon as you have a spare moment to breathe, you take on, another job and a VFX gig and also start a podcast, et cetera, et cetera. But if you didn't do all that stuff, I think you would have the bandwidth to be able to make a short. And I think that it would be potentially worthwhile. But it also, it depends on the short, depends on what sort of resources it's going to pull. I relish in kind of these fun, quirky, dialogue-driven shorts that cost me a couple $1,000, and I do in the middle of the summer because that tends to be a little bit of a slowdown, and you would rather go on vacation, I think. Recharging. That's not, yeah. I don't want that to sound like a slight, but because you work so hard, sometimes you need to go to Hawaii or whatever. But the amount of money that you spend more, one would spend more on a trip than I would spend on a short film is what I'm getting at, right? Yeah. Whereas some people would be like, well, no, I need a whole VFX and I need the big crew, and so it's all part of the equation.
Yeah, there is that one other kind of nice thing about doing commercials, especially the size of commercials that JJ directs, where you could probably get a A-list DP, VFX supervisor, editor to work on your short for free?
Well, she specifically, because she has her own shop, those relationships are meaningful and deep. And I've heard her on podcasts talk about how loyal she is. So if you're a filmmaker out there who has that level of loyalty where the vendors that you work with frequency, it's a lot easier for them to say like, oh, let's do Oren a solid and, cut our rates here because we know that he's going to be good for it in the future,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I guess my very last little question is do you think there's value in going to Sundance if you don't have film there?
Well, I think that yes. The question is really more the cost, right? If you live in Salt Lake City, of course you should go to Sundance. If you live in New York City and you're single and gainfully employed and don't have kids and love movies, then maybe you should go. I, having gone without a film, I said to myself,
I'll never go back.
I'll never go back until I have a film. And you know what? I'm never going to debut a film in Park City. Yeah. And that breaks my heart. That's like, and that's sentimental, but like, I think Sundance stands for film festivals in general when you're a young person, right? When we were kids and we were dreaming of making movies, I'm reading Spikes, Mikes, Slackers, and Dykes. I'm renting movies because they've got like the Sundance laurels in the Straight from Sundance section of Hollywood Video. Like your entree into independent film is Sundance if you're of a certain age. Obviously, independent film has a really vibrant community, and there are many, many, many more avenues than just Park City. And Park City, like Sundance isn't over. Park City as Sundance's location is over. We'll see how things change and evolve for that festival, but the sentimentalist in me, the dreamer in me is very sad to not be there for sure. And it's fun to live vicariously through our friends who are there currently.
Totally. Well, I guess on that note of going to festivals and making movies.
Boy, this is such a good segue, Oren, but to leave it as a cliffhanger, I have a counter question for you that before you move on to the next section.
Yes.
The other thing that's great about Sundance is that it kicks off the year, right? It's in January and it begins the rest of the festival season, but also it's award season, right? And so there are like little parties that you can go to and, watch events. The DGA always throws a few things. We often will go to the commercial directors.
Oh, yeah. I actually was going to invite you to that today. Do you want to go?
Yes, 100% I want to go. I've almost texted you a couple times like, hey, you better not give my spot away because I would.
February 4th
Yeah.
is a commercial one, and February 7th is, the feature one.
Yeah.
We got some good ones. We got
dibs on both.
PTA.
Yeah.
We got, who else is nominated?
Dude, so last year we talked
Chloe Zhao.
We talked to the Daniels.
Yeah, I think just one of them, just Daniel.
Shiner. Yeah. But like it's a really special, fun thing. And there's stuff like that. If you're not a DGA member, there's still like stuff all over town, right? Because everyone's out to try and get you to vote for the SAG Awards or to this or that or whatever. We get invited to the ACE Awards. Kodak does the On Film Awards. So many things where you don't have to be like super, super connected. And I think there's a couple things that are really helpful about it. One, it's fun. But more importantly, I think that there is a sense of community and of connectedness that like these events brings you. You run into people you catch up with them. Maybe they're people that you don't see very often. Maybe they're not even your favorite people. You know what I mean? Like there's something about going to an event and running into like, a person you could like more. But I think that's valuable and not a thing that we get to participate in very much the rest of the year. And then also those relationships that you kind of forge by seeing those people can pay off in ways that you don't really foresee, And so you don't have to go to Park City in order to have that experience in a certain sense.
Yeah. Okay. So who should I vote for? Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Guillermo del Toro, Josh Safdie, or Chloe Zhao?
Ooh, boy. All bangers. That's tough, man. Have you seen Hamnet yet?
Yeah. Well, embarrassingly, I have not seen Frankenstein yet. It's my only movie I'm missing. But I have a feeling he's not gonna beat the other four for me personally.
I don't think so.
I'm a huge fan of his, obviously. Everyone knows he runs the best Q&A. They already talked about it on the town.
Yeah, the best. I think that who do I personally vote for? I might say Chloe Zhao. I thought Hamnet has stuck with me. I really loved Marty Supreme too, actually, but like I think I loved it. I thought Chalamet was great, and I think that the script is really great, and the directing is very, very good. But I don't know if that's the thing that made me love it. And it's hard to parse because like it's a writer director, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe Hamnet. Yeah.
I think it's funny. I'm realizing now that this whole VistaVision for One Battle After Another really hurt it.
Oh, you think so?
I just can't stop hearing people talking about how they saw it in VistaVision at the Vista and how they thought the screen was way too small.
That's not the. Do you just mean me? Because I've ranted about that a couple times.
People have told me that.
Yeah.
Unrelated to you. You were the first one. Don't worry.
Yeah. That was my hot take.
Because I freaking loved One Battle After Another. It was so fun.
Yeah, but also Sinners is great. Like, I don't know. It's a stacked category.
Hamnet is like, the ending is so insanely good.
Yeah.
But the journey there, I thought wasn't as good as some of the other journeys.
I loved it. I really loved it. Yeah.
Well, anyhow. Yeah. Yes. Award season. It's fun. I am trying to watch as many movies as I possibly can because I want my brain to I'm trying to like do my reps in like that narrative world as and see how much I can even bring into the commercial world. As commercials are getting shorter, my storytelling, I think the whole world, not just filmmakers, are like trying to combat their own ADHD that's going on, that our phones are causing, whether you're predisposed or whatever, or you just are addicted to the dopamine hits. I'm trying to focus on longer things, and movies are where I'm getting it.
Dude, let me tell you, I know you're getting a lot of screeners, and I watched Hamnet on a screener, but my wife and I took our car to get it fixed in Culver City for some insane reason that's not interesting. The point is that we were stuck for a couple hours, and I realized, we could Uber to a movie theater, and that's how we saw Marty Supreme. So no phones, right? It was us and one other person in the movie theater at 11 a.m. on a Friday or whatever. But I am certain that movie, like all movies, would suffer from distractions. If I got a text from somebody and like needed a deposit to go do some work, or we fell asleep halfway through and then watched it the second half the next night, it would definitely suffer. You have to be immersed.
Which movie? Marty Supreme or
Marty Supreme? Marty Supreme. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely guilty of not being fully immersed in either one of those two movies.
Yeah. Frankenstein, at least it's in chapters, so you can kind of just in the 3 chapters. It took me 3 nights, but it's great. You like it. Anyway,
cool.
Enough about those features.
Let's talk about your feature.
Yes. So for listeners of the show, and I always say that now, and it's because I know that I'm repeating myself, but of course no one listens to every single episode. That would be insane.
Well, but there is a history. We did have a bet going.
Yes. Yeah. We had a bet for 2 years. For 2 years, right after my daughter was born.
2022 and 2023.
That sounds right. Yeah. Because my daughter was born in 2021, and I was really trying to get the movie made that first year, and had some deals set up. And you were like, "Hey, fatherhood's really tough. You're going to be distracted by fatherhood. You're the type of dad who's going to pay attention to their kid and let the movie.
You're not the type of guy that's going to disappear.
Yeah.
And you also have to work your regular job and make money for the family and pay. Yeah. And you guys are a couple of freelancers, just like Kara and me, that it's really hard to put your career on autopilot when you are working gig to gig. Yeah.
If I had like a job and had like real paternity leave, or if the movie was a little bit further along, like if there's a point of no return where the movie is happening and you were like, hey, I owe it to myself to either go all in, right? I think of Kestrin Pantera, who has kids and has made a couple South by Southwest movies, who was just like, honey, I'm going to be gone for the month. And like basically moved out. And it was like maybe literally across the street, or like it was in the same neighborhood, not even the same town or city. Like she was really close, but was like her husband was just like, I'm giving you this time, go make your movie. You have to surrender to it. And if the movie had if it was further along, maybe that would have happened, but it didn't, and I'm glad. Anyway, I've been trying to make this movie for a long time, is the short of it. And I have talked about on the show, I fundraised through WeFunder, which is a regulation crowdfunding investment platform. So unlike Kickstarter, you invest money in, you become like a co-owner or a partner or investor, I should say, in the entity, rather than it just being a handout. It's not like you're pre-ordering or buying a t-shirt or whatever, though we do have perks. That's what I did for the movie See You Next Christmas, available on Peacock. And we raised most of the money, the lion's share of the money, through strangers.
Right.
And so I was really blown away by the power of WeFunder.
You stole a lot of money from strangers on the street.
No, the opposite. We're paying that money back, baby, which is part of the payoff. But so my wife directed that movie, importantly, and tonally it is different than my current film, Bad Feeling. And so I had been hesitant to go to WeFunder because I knew that friends and family wasn't going to get us there the whole way, and that this investor base signed on to back a very different type of movie. And I didn't want to cannibalize or alienate that base, because my wife is going to do another movie that's much closer to See You Next Christmas in the near future. And so I had been, you'd meet with investors and you did that toil of just trying to make a movie happen and getting close and getting people signed on, and then it falls off or this or that or whatever. Just like grind. Just you watch years slip away. And finally I was like, I'm just going to go back to WeFunder and do it that way. And
is there like a percentage of the budget that you would raise on WeFunder, or how does that work in your mind?
Yeah. So basically I would raise
like just a production budget or something?
Ideally I raise 100% of the production budget. Yeah. So cast and post and production is all included in that, is the ideal scenario, or even honestly marketing and PR, but that could be a separate budget depending on how things go. I guess I'm prepared to do that. But if I don't raise the entirety of said budget on WeFunder, it's still a significant portion of the budget that's in, basically. And so I can use that money to then go raise more money in a traditional manner, basically. It's tricky because you want to, basically WeFunder is essentially a conglomerate of a bunch of individuals. And so I want to make sure that I'm structuring those deals accordingly so that everyone gets a fair shake. But the ideal, honestly, truly the ideal circumstance is that it's just all through WeFunder. And the reason is we've all seen so many people, raise money for a movie and then that's their only movie, right? And so I had this revelation late last week. I was talking to a producer who was like, it's cool to be doing 2 movies. So be straight up with them and just be like, hey guys, here's my movie. Christine's is coming soon. No one's going to be surprised. This is not a shakedown. This is
Christine
not like
being your wife.
Christine being my wife. Yeah. But just like upfront, like, hey everyone, this is what's happening, because I didn't want people to be like, wait, what? You just hit me up for money and now she's doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you're imagining all these conversations in your head of all the reasons not to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And so finally I talked to B, our producing partner, and we wrote up a letter, and I just kind of like emailed 10 or 15 people last night and woke up with 2 investments this morning.
So do you know how many you emailed? 15, you think?
15. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
And I say that not as a flex.
It doesn't sound like a flex.
It's not a flex, but
it sounds like you're surprised.
I'm not surprised. I guess a couple things, not to get too emotional or sentimental about it, but like it's very quick proof that at least 2 other people think this is a good idea and put their money where their mouth is. And that's really validating. But also, like, I should have just written these emails years ago. And so I bring it up to tell people, like, don't wait, don't worry about it. And it's funny, we were talking before we recorded that, like, I'm in this era, this season, this mode of being unabashed with like reaching out to people and not being embarrassed about it, right? Like that the worst thing that can happen is that they say no, right? And the worst thing that could happen in this group of people is that like I turn a person, a supporter, a community member, an investor into I could turn them off. That's what I was scared of. Not just turn them off to me, but turn them off to my wife and her work. So like the stakes are different, right? And it's personal, but I guess it's just like you realize that there's this thing where the cycle of like, if you're good about being honest and forthright and clear and passionate and showing people and thoughtful about like, oh, this is why this movie works. My wife's movie was a Christmas movie that I produced, I should say, but like we are sending people money regularly, right? And though they are not turning
from
a
the
profit.
profits.
You're from grosses. Yeah. So like no one has made all of their money back, but they are making money on this product. And we were transparent and clear and had a commercial hook. And I don't know that many independent filmmakers are as thoughtful about like, here's how we're really going to make the money. This is why we're going to make the money back. This is our best shot. We're not guaranteeing anything, but like we think that this could be meaningful. And so in having done that, you realize like, oh, people are really happy and excited and grateful to be a part of making movies. Like so many people's lives, that's not something that they have entree to. And so we're giving them a chance to make a movie with us, right? And that's fun and cool. And also, if you do right by people, they want to continue on and then it grows, right? And so I had been thinking about it as like this precious pot of people who believed in one movie, and I don't want to spoil it, but in finding these people and offering them this opportunity, it will grow into even more people for the next film. And it becomes this thing where you're building momentum. Ideally, and this is rose-colored glasses, but I'd love to be in a world where I just have a investor base that continues to grow of people who are excited and feel satisfied with what we are doing. And I don't have to ask MRC for money.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess it just kind of depends how much money you can get from an investor base, right?
Sure. Yeah. And that base is going to continue to grow.
And on WeFinder, you have like a target number.
Yes, we have a target number. Yeah.
How do people find your project on WeFinder?
WeFunder. You can go to wefunder.com/badfeeling.
Bad feeling.
And it's kind of in...
Ignore the title when you decide whether you want to invest.
Oh, man. I think it's such a good title. Yeah, we have no spaces or anything.
No,
I know you're being punny. Ho, 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 ho. Yeah, and I haven't really gone wide. So I guess it's really just like previous investors and now listeners of the podcast. We can go check it out. But yeah, it's been a wild ride for the last 24 hours. So
that's awesome.
We'll see how things go. In order for it to go live on the site, you have to have $50,000 committed, basically. So that was the other thing that's kind of meaningful is like, so like,
people can commit before it's live?
Correct. Yeah. So it's essentially a private link. So if you go to wefunder.com and look for all the entertainment projects that are going right now, Bad Feeling would not be on that list. Yeah, my movie would not be on that list. So it's in that private raise. You have to get $50,000 to then go public. And so, there's a lot of pressure on that first round of emails, like if you don't get to $50,000, can you figure out how to get there outside of your personal network is the first big question, Do
you have a time limit?
One does have a time limit. Yeah. I can't remember exactly. It's like a year, basically. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not crazy.
Yeah. So I think with See You Next Christmas, and if you're thinking about WeFunder, shoot me a DM and we can talk about it for sure. But like, I recommend that people continue to raise throughout production, basically, which is what we did. And so we ended up with more money in post than we initially had budgeted for, which was a lifesaver. Most movies don't say that.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And so if you raise more money than your goal is, does it dilute everyone's shares?
Well, so the way that most indie films are structured, which is the way that ours is essentially you get 120% of your initial investment paid back on a even footing, pari passu, right? So like if Oren, you put in $50 and another 49 people put in $1 each and I get $100, you would get 50% of that $100 and each of them would get 1%, right?
Right.
Evenly up until you made 120% of your investment. And then it's split between production 50-50 from there on. So every dollar that we make after you make 120%, you get paid first, right? Investors get paid first. After you're made whole plus 20%, then the filmmakers and the investors split everything 50-50.
Cool.
And also I'm like the person in charge of all of that. So when people talk about like Hollywood accounting, like that's a thing that comes up a lot with investors. I was like, basically the way Hollywood accounting works is like they're pinning expenses from other projects onto your movie. This is the movie,
Right.
So,
which I mean, in theory could still happen by your distributor.
Sure. That's true. So it's incumbent on us to make smart deals with deal caps on how they can kind of jack up those prices. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's the deal. So we'll be talking about it, I think, a decent amount over the course of the next few months. But it's pretty wild.
No, that's exciting. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
It's January 27th. I wonder if I should make a bet with you again, whether you can get the movie made. I'd probably bet less this time. How confident are you that you'll make it this year?
I feel relatively confident, actually. If you'd asked me like last night when I got that email, pretty confident. It's a real rush. But I think that momentum breeds momentum, right? Like, and so that's really nice. And I still got 100 or more emails to spend in this batch. Yeah.
Cool.
I feel pretty good.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's see what happens. It's exciting.
Yeah. Worse than betting you $100 is talking about it on the podcast, right? I'm going to see all of you at Lawless Brewery, and you're going to ask me. So I better have some good intel.
Yeah. Do we have a date?
We don't have a date, but it's coming soon. I'm sure we'll
get one.
In. Yeah. But Kaplan.
Yes.
Enough about me and my dreams coming true. Oren, you had a big shoot in January. Typical Kaplan. Just cranking.
Cranker. I'm a cranker.
A crank yanker. And you had some insights that you wanted to float to the group.
Yes, I absolutely did. So I had a shoot last Friday, and it was tricky. It was very ambitious. We had to shoot, I think, maybe like 10 locations in one day.
That's how you know, can I just say Friday? That's how you know there's a celebrity involved, right? Because no agency ever wants to schedule a shoot on a Friday.
Yeah, no, that is a good point.
Yeah.
So I did have a celebrity, a very well-known athlete in the area that I was filming in the Pacific Northwest, but very much like not an actor. And in hindsight, I wish we would have scheduled a little bit different our day. And I want to talk a little bit about scheduling, because I think with actors, but I guess just to back up a little bit, I think scheduling your day is a very important thing for filming. And I think as a director, obviously the AD, the assistant director, it's kind of their job to make the schedule and figure things out and get you through the day. But I'm sure there's directors that just someone sends them the schedule and they're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. To me, it's like one of the most important parts of my job is to look at that schedule and to think through, just to play out the day in my mind and think, okay, so what wardrobe is he going to be wearing? And okay, now she's going to jump in the pool. So will we be able to use her in this next scene? Sometimes,
and it's daylight dependent, but like, okay, the best background is over here. So it'd be better to shoot that later in the day.
Yeah. And a lot of times in your mind, you have like these extra shots that you might want to get. Like, ooh, maybe we'll just pan the camera over and get everyone yelling together or something. In the meantime, your AD is like changing the wardrobe of have those people in the shot because you didn't draw them in the storyboard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
So you need to kind of...
Or hip them to like, hey, we might need this, so I'm going to add this to the shot list.
Yeah. And once they schedule it in a specific way, you might never be able to do the thing that you want to do, Yeah. But to me, something that my entire career I've been pretty annoying about is I try to shoot things in order whenever I can. I love shooting things in order. I love it when a change from one scene informs the next scene. I find it very frustrating to have to lock wardrobe, especially let's say you have a scene where the wardrobe changes. Someone puts a hat on in scene 3 and then, they take it off in scene 5. And and maybe you're shooting scene 3 first. And then when you go to shoot or you're shooting scene 5 first where the hat is already on. And then you...
Or more likely, like they're getting dirty or sweaty or like tired or something, right? Like taking a hat on and off isn't that big a deal, right? But like...
Yeah. But there is something about like now we're shooting scene 3 where they're supposed to put the hat on and it just doesn't make sense. Like
you just don't want to. Oh,
where they're going to be, where the lighting is. And they're like, well, do I have to put the hat on? It's like,
it's like raining. Like
unfortunately, we kind of painted ourselves into a corner because of the schedule, because the AD wanted to save 5 minutes of walking from this room to that room. We ended up like basically compromising the stuff. So that's kind of the tricky stuff. And now when you work, like not to toot the LA cast and crew horn too much, but when you work with...
you can't be wrong with this one. I know exactly where you're going. Yeah.
When you work with an actor that's been on set 100 times, when you work with a grip, electric, wardrobe, makeup crew that's been on set thousands of days.
And your AD Works
and
in
an
LA.
AD that has done it all. First of all,
Mhm.
they'll probably try to come right out of the gate and schedule it as story order as much as possible because they know that directors like that. But they are very good at shooting things out of order.
Mhm.
Those actors will do the work for you. They'll be like, well, I'm probably kind of tired, right? Because we just had the
Mhm.
chase scene right before this. So should I be like, maybe my shoes untied or something? Like they'll kind of bring that stuff.
Mhm.
And you're not the sole person responsible for
Right.
the continuity across everything.
When people say things like that and you're like, oh yeah, good idea, it always makes me feel a little bad. Not that I'm supposed to come up with every idea. I'm well over that. But like those sorts of like details of like thinking it through for each of them, like especially when it's something obvious, it's like, I wish I'd thought of that,
Yeah. But when you work again with very experienced people, they'll have your back. They'll be like,
Mhm.
wait, so I should be holding this in my right hand, right? Because
Mhm.
in the last scene, I picked it up with my right hand.
I always, and maybe I've talked about it on the show before, but I was doing like a improvised piece with Nicole Richie for like a couple days,
Mhm.
and we were shooting a scene, and halfway through the scene, she like came up with a joke where she was going to like pour herself champagne, and it was like we were shooting across the coffee table, and we were like, oh yeah, that's really funny, you should do that. And she did it perfectly. She only needs one take always. And then she put the champagne bottle on the ground rather than on the coffee table. So all of the previous takes that we'd used or that we'd already shot, we could use them. And
No.
like no one
Mhm.
asked her to do that. She just instinctually knew like, oh, here's a funny joke. You can use it in the middle, and everything else is all this footage is still totally
It's
valid.
gonna work. Yeah. And your whole
Yeah.
department, the
Yeah.
lighting continuity, the wardrobe continuity, all that stuff. Now, when you're not shooting in LA, when you're shooting with like, especially like this thing I shot, we had like 30 background folks. 13
Mhm.
of them we cast, 20 or 17 of them we were given. They were just real people from
Mhm.
the brand. They're like, oh yeah, our friends and family want to be in this commercial.
Mhm.
When you use them, they just have no clue about continuity, about the energy, about when to start. What
Yeah.
half
It
of them
is-
didn't even know to go when the AD's like,
Yeah.
and background, and they
Yeah.
didn't know what that means.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Which is fair. That's no
It's
slag on
totally-
them. It's just like being a background actor is still acting, and it is still a skill and a craft, and like you're reminded like when you have SAG background, you're like, oh dang.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Totally. But yeah, it's a perk of working with very experienced people in a huge market like LA. And the reason I bring it up is because we have, and I think in commercials, usually probably the most important line of dialogue is the first line of dialogue and the last line of dialogue, where you kind of open and where you close. And we had the first line of dialogue as the first thing. And this is not an actor. It's not someone that's like even loves performing. This is an athlete. And so in hindsight, I wish we would have stuck the kind of one of the more important performance pieces later in the day, even though, I had just said I like to shoot in order. But when you're working with people that are not used to being on camera, a big part of your job is to like make them comfortable being on camera. And it's really hard when you're like the day started, you're already 30 minutes behind because somebody didn't have the keys to the right warehouse door or whatever. And now you're trying to catch up, and now you're trying to hurry someone through like 2 or 3 fast takes of something before you get to relax them. So that's kind of a thing that I on my next shoot, I'll do better with with kind of, not non-actors is try to schedule their most important performance parts
Yeah.
probably closer to the middle of the day, even if it kind of messes up a couple other things.
Yeah, I think that's valid. Having shot with athletes a decent amount last year, and you and I were quote unquote comedy directors. So like, even if the spot's not really supposed to be like laugh out loud funny, it's supposed to be charming. It's supposed to put a smile on people's faces, right? It's like, it's not funny, haha, but it's funny like, oh, nice, right?
Yeah.
And so that comes with a level of performance, of swagger, of confidence, of happiness, of energy. And I remember shooting with some athletes last year, and one of the things we were doing was just like a straight up interview, like, hey, like, tell me about why you think the product that you're selling is good. Like, how does it feel to be such a good baseball player? All that stuff. And we shot for 2 days, and they were like, hey, we don't want to shoot the interviews the first up next time, even though the light was best and all that stuff. And I felt a little frustrated in the moment because I was kind of like, the
we've got 30 questions. Not all of them were we hoping to get great answers from. So the warm-up is implicit in this. And the warm-up is just like, oh, hey, I'm so-and-so and I play for this team. And then I come back after they're warmed up to go do that again. So to me, it was kind of an ideal warm-up. But to agency, they were like, what are you doing? You're wasting 15 minutes. And I was like, no, I'm warming him up on camera.
And did it work?
So here's the thing with athletes.
They have zero short-term memory.
They are so dialed in. Like both of these guys had 9-figure contracts, just like a 25-year-old rich person who has spent basically every waking moment hitting baseballs with baseball bats. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just so laser focused on doing this thing. And so when you ask them to do that, it's so cool. It's electric to be up close to a pro baseball player hitting a home run over and over and over again is so cool. I'm sure I talked about it when I got back from the trip. That's what they're great at. Does that mean that they maybe haven't developed their public speaking skills in quite the same way? Yeah, it does, because they've been on the baseball field their whole lives. That's what they're doing. So do I fault them? No. It's my job to like get them there to varying degrees of success, I guess is maybe what I'm getting at. So yeah, they warmed up relatively speaking. No one's winning an Oscar from or a Clio or a pencil from that work, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think I think athletes are a special breed of actor, and it's probably become just over the last 10 years just so ubiquitous.
Yeah. Now they have to be
in advertising.
Well, and that's why also like when you see somebody who's like a great like broadcaster, right? Like when you see Charles Barkley, who's funny and insightful and a great player, you're just like, dang, like,
yeah,
this guy won the lottery 3 times over.
And you can tell which athletes like it, like him, and which athletes don't really care for it.
Sure.
So yeah, I wanted to mention one other kind of interesting reason why you would schedule something, and that's I have a shoot in 2 weeks, and it's a 3-day shoot. And one day we're shooting at a house, one day we're shooting in an office, and one day we're just shooting on green screen. And due to some location availability, my producer was like, let's just do the green screen shoot first. We were originally going to do it last. And I said to him, I don't want to do a fully green screen shoot first. It's with one actor talking to camera on a green screen. I'm like, this is the least interesting type of filmmaking you can do. The client is going to be so bored out of their mind. We are going to spend way more time on this thing than we need to just because it's the first thing up. The agency, everyone, it's just not going to put us in the right mindset to be excited. It's so much nicer to shoot the house first. We get all the cool lighting, and dolly camera moves and dolly moves. And now we're going to go into the office and kind of do like kind of really fun comedy, like visual comedy. And then we're going to go to the green screen. By now they trust me. They're like, yeah, we trust you. We're going to go to the airport early.
They show up late.
On our flight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so that's a thing for kind of multi-day shoots of scheduling. But I made just a quick list of other things I like to look at.
I do love also schedules. I think I had clients go to Disneyland one time on like the second day.
Yeah, that's cool. Did they have kids?
No.
Were you shooting at Disneyland?
No. We were in the valley.
That's funny.
I was like, yeah, go for it, guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the other kind of big things to schedule around obviously is daylight. And, you don't discount interiors. Like, of course, you can make an interior look like day at night. But if you want to ever look out a window, it's very helpful if it's daytime out there.
Sure.
And throwing a light on a tree is not the same as shooting during the day. And then I try, of course, to get it in story order when I can so that each scene is informing the next scene. And then I also am like constantly thinking about like parallel processing. Like, what can we do while we're lighting this set? Or so maybe go from like an easy lighting set to a difficult lighting set to an easy lighting set, try to go back and forth there so that your resources can be kind of working ahead. Do you have any thoughts on like the first thing up after lunch?
Yeah, I used to be like the guy who was like, get it done before lunch, Don't like call grace, go and do a little OT if you need to.
Oh, so we get to go to a new place after lunch. And there's a reason for that, right?
And I am, yes. Yeah. I mean,
which is that while people are wrapping up lunch, the other people can already start, even on your lunch break, you and the DP can go start looking at things, and you can kind of get some marching orders going before you're like officially back.
And even if you let your DP have a few minutes to like really mellow out, take their full lunch,
like people have to get back into looks, and it just takes,
Yeah.
it's a
So
second
all the
wherever we get
actors
it.
are,
Yeah.
going back into their wardrobe and
So
all
it
that
is the
stuff.
best way to do it. But I also have like come to terms with like, if I'm not done with the shot before lunch, don't call Grace, don't go over, just cut, make it safe, and come back to it. And that similarly has a little bit of momentum to it. We know exactly what we're doing. And you can still kind of work ahead too. Like you're probably like almost done with the shot. You're lit, you were up and rolling. So like you probably just have to do it a couple more times and then you move on. And like people can still be sort of working ahead in that
Yeah.
interim.
It is interesting. I do wonder if you get back into the swing of things faster, if you're going back to an already set up shot.
Yeah, already set up shot. You know the lines. You did all the whole thing. So it's kind of like, where was I? Fresh eyes a little bit, but then you're into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then something we've heard a lot, but we haven't talked about it recently, is that you shouldn't do the most important shot at the end of your day. The big jib shot, the big crane shot, the big complicated shot, because you inevitably are going to be rushing it, fighting against the sun, fighting against crew wrap, all these different things. And so try to get your important shots closer to the beginning of the day.
It makes me think of an anecdote that I probably have recounted. Edgar Wright on his first few features basically would shoot all of those like crash zooms and like whip pans and all of that stuff. The stuff that makes his movies, he would shoot it at lunch.
Oh, interesting.
Just because like no AD or producer would be like, yeah, we're going to let you like crash zoom in on a button getting pushed.
Right. While 50 people are waiting.
50 people are waiting.
Interesting.
And that eventually he was like, no, this is the movie. And people realized, oh, if you don't have those pieces, it's not an Edgar Wright movie anymore. And then he just eventually like managed to like stack all of those shots up to just be like 2 days of a splinter unit, of an insert unit later on. And they just got their own time. And he got to eat lunch.
I mean, that's how the Substance was shot. They did all the inserts after the main photography was over, after they were done with like all their movie stars and stuff. And it is what makes the movie too. Just insane detailed inserts.
Sure. And not something you can rush through, or that I could shoot at lunch while Demi is getting her frittata.
Right. So kind of the other thing that you hear people say a lot, especially in advertising, that you should do the product shots first. It's what the client cares about. Once they feel good about that, everything else, there's less stress on you after that. I sometimes agree and sometimes disagree. I think if it's an easy product shot, you should do it first if you can. But it's very easy to waste many hours on product shots.
So
that's
long.
like always my fear, is to put something up first that you could shoot fast if you needed to. But if it's up first, you're not going to shoot it fast.
Yeah. And to me, it's also like, what's the most complicated lighting setup, right? Because you want to invest that time while people are in the, getting through hair, wardrobes, you're doing a show and tell. There's a lot of time where people can be working on that big complicated thing and then ready to rock. And then it's easier to move into the next thing thereafter, right? Like once the hard thing's out of the way, then you can kind of go crazy. And it tends not to be, the product shot doesn't tend to be like the most complicated because it's so contained. It's still important, and it's still, you could have a bunch of little kicks here and there and nuance to it for sure, but the scale of it is totally different.
Yeah. It depends. I've definitely spent many hours lighting product shots, but also vice versa. Yeah.
But still, it's fine tuning, not the big build necessarily, right? Or do you disagree?
Yeah, no, I think, I think sometimes
it's like, okay, you're flying a little edge light and
if the product is like also like a car or something.
Sure. The scale of the product is probably pretty important. Yeah. If you're shooting a car shot, that's probably the first thing. Yeah.
And then the last thing is I very much like to do the voiceover at the end. I know it's obvious. Probably most people do it just because that's when you're getting to it. But on my shoot last Friday, we did not do it at the end. We did it quite early, and I probably would have wanted to record a few additional kind of alts and things that came up during the day that we just didn't have time because we lost our spokesperson at lunchtime. So those are kind of my thoughts on scheduling the things I care about that maybe not everyone thinks about, but I'm curious what your thoughts are. And if you have any tips for us, you can email us at justshootitpod@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram. But before we end our show, Matt, you have a minute to endorse something with me?
Unpaid endorsements.
So for my unpaid endorsement, it is award season.
And so I thought I would just kind of rattle off a few of my favorite awards movies. Look, I know that you've probably seen them already, or at least they're on your radar. But in the case of Hamnet kind of feels like homework a little bit, I don't know about you, but like, you're like, here it's so sad and the performances are so good. And, like maybe you had
2 hours
mixed
and
feelings.
5
It's
minutes.
2 hours. Yeah, exactly. They're all pretty long. So I'm going to double down on Hamnet as my awards unpaid endorsement. And then also Marty Supreme, which again, you don't need me telling you to go see Marty Supreme. It's kind of a hit movie, but watching it in the theater, I had a blast. I had a great time. You know what else I'll endorse is the kid, the titular character from Hamnet, the little boy who plays Hamnet. I thought was incredible. Like everyone's talking about Jesse Buckley. Everyone's talking about Paul Mescal. No discredit to them. Both incredible actors. Such a treat. But the little boy who plays Hamnet, because also, if he's not good, the whole movie falls apart. And he's like 12 or whatever. So that's my unpaid endorsement. Go treat yourself to turn off your phone, watch Hamnet.
Yeah. Did you know that the female lead in Marty Supreme, not Gwyneth Paltrow, but the other one, is Odessa
of Zion? Yeah, or something like that.
Azion? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though her birth name is Odessa Zion Segal Adlon. Did you know that she's Pamela Adlon's daughter?
Oh, I'd heard that and not made the connection. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
She sounds like Bobby Hill. Yeah, she sounds like Bobby Hill.
Yeah.
That's Adlon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And Odessa's also in I Love LA, which I much prefer her in Marty Supreme personally. But yeah, it's a fun movie. I'm also going to recommend a show. It's called Wonder Man. My wife is in episode 5. And so we
awesome.
went to had like a friends and family screening last night. On the
previous
Disneyland.
guest, Numa Perrier, I believe, worked on that movie. I saw on Instagram her posing in front of a director's chair for Wonder Man.
Oh,
so
she probably did.
Yeah.
She did not. I don't think she did my wife's episode, but the first 2 episodes were directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. Do you know him?
Awesome. Yes.
He did.
Yeah. Short Term 12. Love it.
Yeah, and also that Marvel movie with Simu Liu.
Oh, yeah. The Shang-Chi and the Rings of Power, something
the
like
Seven Ring. Yeah, or Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the 3rd episode was directed by James Ponsoldt. And they screened the first 3 episodes last night. But I'm curious to see if it does well, because it is. Do you know anything about it?
I know that it's kind of meta, basically. Yeah.
It is about acting in Hollywood. It is, and it is like very, very, very inside baseball. I mean, literally the premise of the first 3 episodes is whether this guy's going to get a callback or not for an audition. And he like references Deadline, and in the opening sequence, he's a day player on American Horror Story, and he's on set like at Paramount. And it's, if you are into film at all, just the opening sequence of that movie or that show, you will really, really like. And Ben Kingsley is in it, Sir Ben Kingsley. Which, when my wife said when she acted on it, they told her, please address him as Sir Ben. But he also plays an actor, but he plays the actor. He was in the Marvel. He's in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, he plays the Manchurian in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I thought maybe it was the Avengers, but
I think it's Iron Man 2, which I think is the Shane Black one. So the Manchurian is like a very racist character from the golden age of comics, like super duper racist.
But he's always been a bad guy.
He's always been a bad guy, but like there was nothing meta about him in the comics. And then, so it was like kind of like, I was like, oh, they're bringing the Manchurian back. And then in I think it's Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 3.
Or 3. Yeah, there's the reversal where they realize, oh, this is just some actor who's been hired to play this kind of racist caricature. And they kind of turned it on their head. Its head was pretty smart, actually.
And he was in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Oh, as the actor playing the Manchurian, or?
Oh, wait. He reprised the role in the Marvel one-shot All Hail the King and in the film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which features the real leader of the Ten Rings, Wen Wu.
I see.
Interesting. Anyhow, I cannot, I don't know that my parents would my mom would, because she works in the theater, but I don't know if a normal person would understand this show at all. But I really loved it. I think our listeners will love it. So check it out. It's on Disney+. I think the entire season drops today.
Awesome. Well, I'll have to take a look.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think, everybody. Drop us a DM or an email at justshootapod@gmail.com. We're across all social media at justshootapod, and I'm at Mr. Matt and Lowe.
And I'm at O Kaplan. This episode was edited by Kevin O. Yang. Thanks, Kevin. Our social media is done by Lily Bouvier, and our producer is Tyler Small. And you're listening to music from the Free Music Archive and the artist Jazar. And we will catch you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.